Good Monday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's weather forecast, I will be focusing on the severe weather and the heavy rainfall threat today and on Tuesday across the southeastern United States, followed by a major severe weather outbreak likely to unfold on Thursday and Friday with all severe weather hazards, including tornadoes, on the table. And then a winter storm is likely Thursday into Friday as well across the northern plains and the upper Midwest. We'll go over those details later on in this video. If you guys are not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on all of my daily weather forecast updates. Each and every morning at 9 a.m. on this channel, I cover southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics during tropical weather season. Hit the subscribe button down below, everyone. Definitely appreciate it. Also, don't forget to press the like button, the thumbs up button down below the video. It helps to get as many people as possible to watch this video, the more likes that we get. So I definitely appreciate all the new subscribers and the likes out there. But let's get into the forecast because we have lots to talk about here. So as we go through the day today, we'll have more of a quasi-zonal jet stream across the United States. What you see is what you get. To the north of the jet stream, we're going to see some cooler temperatures. Underneath and just south of the jet stream, we're going to see some warmer temperatures. So your high temperatures across the country here, we got the teens and 20s up here to the north with that deeper snowpack still on the ground across North Dakota, parts of northeastern South Dakota into western Minnesota. Some milder temperatures across the Ohio Valley, the Northeast, and the lower Midwest here into the 40s and parts of those areas into the 50s as well. And then south of there, we're into the 70s, 80s, and even 90s down here into Florida later on this afternoon. But we're also talking about that warm sector across the southeast still hanging strong through the day today. And we also see moisture pooling up against that boundary with that cold front that sags very slowly to the south and east through the afternoon and evening. Dew points will be returning into the 60s and near 70 degrees down here, and that is going to contribute to what we call CAPE, or convective available potential energy. The higher the value, the better the chances of thunderstorms and thus severe weather. We do have some 1,000 to 2,000 joules per kilogram of instability down here right along the immediate Gulf Coast, and then getting in towards south central Georgia and southern South Carolina as well. So likewise, we do have a 1 out of 5 and 2 out of 5, a marginal to slight risk for severe storms here across the immediate Gulf Coast from Houston all the way through New Orleans, the Mobile, Alabama area here, and all the way through portions of Macon, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, and then getting up into Myrtle Beach and Charleston, South Carolina as well. The highest chances of severe weather will be in this yellow shaded color across portions of Charleston, South Carolina, and then getting down into Macon, Georgia later on today. Looking at the hazards for the severe storms, we have a 5 to 15% shading for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour, mainly across south central Georgia and southern South Carolina. We also have an elongated area from Houston to New Orleans, Mobile, Alabama, and then back through portions of Georgia there and the Carolinas for some large hail, probably up around 1 to 1.5 inches in diameter out there as well. And then a lower end threat for tornadoes, especially into southern North Carolina, much of South Carolina into south central Georgia later on today as well. So timing out the storms, the noon time frame, we have a broken line of some strong to severe storms. A few of these could be producing damaging winds, large hail, and a couple of brief tornadoes out there. That will continue through the evening hours at 6 o'clock here on Monday evening. Again, they will be slowly moving southward here. They'll have a tough time moving south, but as they do, they could be producing some damaging winds, large hail, and a few tornadoes out there. And then by the time we get to later on this evening at 10 o'clock, we'll start to lose the energy in the atmosphere, and we're going to start to see those storms wane in intensity and coverage by the time we get in towards later this evening. We are looking at a flooding risk as well. So in addition to the severe weather, we have some flooding out there. These are the current weather alerts. We have widespread flood watches across central Alabama into central Georgia. This does include portions of the Atlanta metro area with even some ongoing flash flood warnings as well across east central Alabama into west central Georgia here. And we're just going to exacerbate the flooding problems as we have more widespread rainfall here across these areas, and in some cases some heavy rainfall. If you get under multiple thunderstorms, we could be talking about 1, 2, even 3 additional inches of rainfall in some of the areas that have already seen a lot of rainfall and have saturated soils out there. That goes all the way through Tuesday morning here, with the heaviest of the rain probably along portions of southeastern Alabama, northwest Florida into Georgia, and even into South Carolina as well. That is exactly where we have a marginal to slight risk for flash flooding here today into Tuesday morning. So take it easy around the Atlanta metro area and then farther south toward the Macon, Georgia area, as we have that slight risk for flash flooding. Then as we go into Tuesday, again, much of the same. That slow moving cold front will drop farther to the south, again, meeting up with the Gulf of Mexico there in portions of northern Florida. And again, we have another marginal threat for severe weather across the New Orleans region, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, the Mobile, Alabama area, Tallahassee, Panama City, Pensacola, and then over here towards Savannah, Georgia by the Tuesday afternoon time frame. And this does include the threat for all hazards. So we have damaging winds, large hail, and a 2% shading of tornadoes, again from New Orleans all the way over toward the Jacksonville area and Savannah, Georgia as well through that time frame. So looking here, our dew point temperatures remain the same. To the north of the boundary, we'll be drying out, dew points back into the 20s and 30s out there, but along and south of the boundary, we're going to be a little bit more unstable. So dew points will be in the mid 60s out there across those areas, but we will have lesser instability, or CAPE, convective available potential energy, will be lacking a little bit on Tuesday. So I think the mode of severe weather will likely be more damaging winds and large hail versus tornadoes. So 6 a.m. on Tuesday, we have some isolated to widely scattered storms here from the Beaumont, Texas area through New Orleans, getting in toward Mobile, Alabama, northwest Florida panhandle here. A few of these could be strong, producing some damaging winds and large hail. But as we go through the day and through the morning, we'll start to see more of an organized line of storms push through southern Georgia, southern Alabama, into the northwest Florida panhandle. This will bring a more organized threat for damaging winds, large hail, and maybe a brief tornado. That will continue through the afternoon on Tuesday. And then by the time we get to 7 o'clock Tuesday evening, we'll start to see these storms wane in intensity as they push toward portions of the Orlando area, Tampa Bay, and even portions of eastern Florida. But back to the west, we got another big storm we're watching going in towards the middle of this week. We actually have widespread winter weather headlines out here across western Oregon, north central California, with widespread winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings where we're gearing up for significant snow. So that trough will be off the west coast here as we go through that Tuesday time frame tomorrow, but that will move quickly onshore by Wednesday here across the west coast and California on the 29th of March, and this is going to bring some widespread rain and snow. So here today, you can see pretty dry out here to the west. We have that atmospheric river off the west coast here, not really moving in as we head through the daytime hours. But overnight tonight into Tuesday morning, we're going to start to see that change. We're going to see the atmospheric river move into California and the west coast here. So it'll start off across northern and central California on Tuesday, and then move down the coast into southern California, and then eventually over the Vegas area here into Nevada and the desert southwest as well by the middle of the week on Wednesday, March 29th. And this will bring widespread precipitation chances. So this evening, 6 o'clock, pretty dry out here. Maybe some nuisance snow showers across the central Rockies, a couple of snow showers up here into western Oregon. But other than that, we're not seeing too much out there. Going into the overnight hours, things do change. We start to see some of the banding of some rain and snow move in around the midnight time frame across western and central Oregon here into northern California. Most of this will be snow, but right along the coastal regions there into western Oregon and northwest California, we'll see the heavier rainfall. That continues through the better half of our Tuesday morning into the afternoon, and then by Tuesday night that spreads farther south. The Sacramento Valley, the Sierra Nevadas will start to see some very heavy snow, very heavy rain, and then that spreads down even toward the San Francisco area Tuesday night. And then getting through Wednesday, much of the same. We have more precipitation on the way across California, Nevada, up here toward Idaho and portions of northern Utah, some heavier snow for you guys, and then that continues as well going into the morning hours on Thursday. Looking at the total rain rainfall accumulation out there from Tuesday, March 28th through Thursday, March 30th to get late into the week. We will see some decent rains, especially the coastal areas of Oregon and northwestern California near the coastline. 1 to 3 inches worth of rain during this period. Farther south, again, you can see right along the coastline there, we're going to see some heavy rain in California, averaging around 1 to 3 inches during that Tuesday, March 28th through Thursday, March 30th timeframe. And that is a concern. We have saturated soils across California, so we're going to see more rainfall adding on to the saturated soils. So flooding is an issue. A marginal is a slight risk for flash flooding here, especially with that slight risk along central coastal California. So that is Tuesday into Wednesday, getting towards the middle of the week. But we're also seeing lots of snowfall out there as well. So the Pacific Northwest, those ski resorts out there, going to be loving some snow, several inches here into Oregon, Idaho, back into western Wyoming near the Salt Lake City area, especially as you go up in elevation, and then into northern Nevada, northern California. We have winter storm warnings. We're going to see 1 to 2 feet of snow going over that 3 to 4 day period through Thursday this week. And then farther south, central and southern Sierra Nevadas, we're going to be picking up a foot to maybe a foot and a half of snowfall during that Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday timeframe through this week. And with that snowfall, it's going to be creating some travel issues. So we have those major to even extreme travel impacts, especially as you go up into higher elevations here, especially into the Sierra Nevadas, Northern California. Do watch out for that if you are traveling in those areas. Other than that, we're seeing just some limited to minor travel inconveniences here across Oregon, Nevada, and much of the Pacific Northwest as we go through this week. But then it starts to change. That system will continue to press off to the east, and it's going to bring some trouble along with it here. With that trough moving in across the four corners, we're going to have ridging across the eastern two-thirds of the United States, and that's going to be bringing back some return flow on Thursday, and we're going to see high temperatures returning into the 60s, 70s, and 80s out here, all the way up to Nebraska and even western Iowa with the 60s we go on Thursday afternoon, and a deep warm sector. Not so much on Thursday with dew points in the 50s and 60s, but we still have a very strong trough that's going to be moving in. So we have a mid-level jet rounding the base of that trough with some pretty high wind energy by Thursday evening, and then getting into Friday morning, that mid-level jet really starts to enhance across the Great Plains states here, and that is why we have a threat for severe weather. So the Storm Prediction Center's Day 4 outlook does cover a slight risk from southern Kansas through west central Oklahoma here. This does cover near the Wichita area, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and then back towards northwest Texas. So just west of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex there toward Wichita Falls, Vernon, Texas, and then down farther to the south as well as we get through the day on Thursday. So looking at Thursday afternoon, 1 o'clock, again, we have that surface cyclogenesis across the front range of the Rockies as a 995 millibar low. Snow back to the west, but the warm air out ahead of that, we got to watch out for some severe storms. The European high resolution guidance doesn't get too excited about the severe weather threat here, even into Thursday evening or throughout the overnight hours. With all that warm air moving north along that warm front, we're going to have some heavy rain and even snow farther north from there. But you see, as we go through Thursday night and Friday, we really don't have a huge coverage of storms down here. And the reason for that is we have a drought that is really expanding and worsening across the central and southern Great Plains here. You can see into portions of Nebraska, especially into western Kansas, western Oklahoma, into the panhandle there of Oklahoma and Texas. We have the severe, extreme, and exceptional drought, especially in these darker reds and the maroon reds here, and that is the elevated mix layer that we need for severe storms, and it's too strong, so we really have a huge capping inversion, which is going to limit the overall coverage of these storms on Thursday. So Thursday's threat is a little bit more conditional for severe weather, but on Friday, it changes a little bit. We have that trough ejection across the upper Midwest by Friday afternoon, Friday evening, that ridge still across the eastern two-thirds of the country, and we have those warm temperatures, that southerly flow out ahead of that low pressure system with temperatures into the 50s, 60s, and 70s, all the way up into southern Wisconsin, eastern Iowa, and northern Illinois by Friday afternoon and evening, as well as a deepening low pressure system that will have a pronounced moist sector sector all the way up into the Chicagoland area and perhaps even Madison, Wisconsin, with those mid-50 dew points on Friday. So with an enhanced jet stream Friday afternoon and Friday night, look at all the strong wind energy with this. There is no surprise with that low-level jet as well that the Storm Prediction Center actually has gone ahead and upgraded to a widespread level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk for severe storms on Friday, day 5. This is 5 days out, and the confidence is there for a widespread major severe weather outbreak from northern Illinois, eastern Iowa, all the way southward toward the Little Rock area into central and southern Arkansas, portions of Missouri here, including St. Louis, getting into western Tennessee, into the Memphis area, and northwestern Mississippi. But even in this yellow shaded color, so Indiana, southwestern lower Michigan, getting down through central and western Kentucky, middle and western Tennessee, northern portions of Mississippi, northern Louisiana, northeast Texas, including the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, Kansas City, down into Tulsa here into eastern Oklahoma. We have a lot of coverage of severe potential on Friday, so we definitely have to keep an eye on this. So Friday afternoon, we have some storms moving along the cold front here. We got the warm front surging to the north, snow on the backside. That continues through Friday evening. And I want you to pay attention up here. We have a 992 millibar low pressure system somewhere across eastern or northeastern Iowa by Friday afternoon and evening. Peak daytime heating. We got the warm front right along there in southern Wisconsin or northern Illinois, and then the cold front down across eastern Iowa into northeast Missouri. That's what we call the triple point, and this could be an area to watch for enhanced severe potential going into Friday night, and that continues to surge east overnight into Saturday morning with the snow farther to the north. So that is an area to watch for potentially some stronger tornadoes as we go into Friday. We'll fine-tune that as we get a little bit closer. But going here into the snowfall potential, the European forecast model has all that farther to the north. So north central Wisconsin, southeastern Canada, back all the way through the Twin Cities region where we've seen snow all winter long and into the early spring here. And that continues back farther west into South Dakota. The GFS is a little bit farther to the north, a little more amplified with this system, and also more bullish on the snowfall totals, possibly over a foot in some areas up here into northern Wisconsin, the Twin Cities, back into South Dakota and western Nebraska here later this week. Just briefly looking at the ensemble guidance, the GEFS is again hinting at that farther to the north again, the upper Midwest, the northern plains into southeastern Canada, and the Canadian guidance is pretty much on board with that, but with lighter totals as we get through later on this week. Well, thank you guys for watching. Definitely appreciate it. Remember to like the video down below by giving it a thumbs up. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Everybody have a great rest of your Monday out there.